Okay, so we've got a problem with this, and I think I know what it is, and I'm hoping I know what it is, because if not, then we might have to pay a lot of money to replace this, because if it is what I think it is, there's two options. One, it's either the drive, spinning the motor, spinning the whole drum, or it could be the pump. First and foremost, there is a model number located right here, and it is the WM2487HRMA. I'll put that on the screen, but here is your model number for this washer. So one thing I've learned just in small research is a lot of these washers over a range of time have pretty much the same inner workings for the most part. So two things: diagnostic mode. First thing I've learned: spin speed and soil level. Press it in and hold it. Press the power button. You'll see this flashing. Now I know a certain number of codes, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the first code and I'm going to spin it. So now it's going to tell me the RPMs in which we're spinning. That's the slow speed. But here's the problem. Listen. Do you hear that grinding noise? I thought that was the drum and it's not spinning fast enough, but according to the data, it's supposed to spin around 45 RPMs, which it's doing. Go to the second speed, and I thought, oh my God, it's not spinning anymore, it's broken. Well, no, it's spinning. Just like it's supposed to. Now grinding noise went away. More research: grinding noise equals or means water pump. And what am I showing you here? This is the brand new water pump that I have ordered. So from what I understand, with this force here, this is quite strong. I've seen other people talk about these. I believe I have to replace this. But the biggest problem in replacing this is I have to do it all the way down there where this little door is. The problem with that is, I believe there is another model. I haven't seen, I don't know the model number, but there's another model where there is a section of panel right here that you can remove by opening this and remove it, and you can get to whatever it is you need to get to related to the pump wise. But instead, I have to remove this whole panel. Now, to do that, first I have to get in here and pull this guy off. And it's water in there. So, put some towels down here. Okay. And then we will finish getting that water out a little bit later. So, what I have to do down here is there's a few things that I have to do. Is I have to remove this screw here. There we go. One screw associated with that. Then there's a screw down here that I have to get out. Okay. So those will stay together. And there's two more in here that will hold this pump in place, but I'm not going to take that out until I take the whole piece off. Now, the biggest one, which is going to be the hardest one, one of the hardest ones, is back here. Okay, so I'm going to take this from you real quick, and I want to show you back here in the back. You see, so there's two screws here, one up here, one down here. You might be able to barely see it. Just take out the bottom one. Leave this one attached to the top because we're taking the lid off. Probably will only need these tools. You got a little mini screwdriver for my Ring video doorbell, pair of needle nose, regular pair of pliers for some hose clamps, a little automation. It's time for my little guy. So lefty loosey, righty tighty. That's not too shabby. Okay, so I want to bring your attention to something else. So if you step back, there's one thing that's most important of all things that you do, and you can't tell that it's not functioning, but we're going to go into the innards of this washing machine, unplug it, and of course put it somewhere that you can easily get to it again. Initial thing, make sure you keep an eye on where all your screws are going and which place they go into. So I'm going to set them in the tray just for now. And the nice thing is the only thing that I have to mess with is this. So I'm sure it's going to be darn near hard to put back on, but to take apart, oh, okay, so, oh, nice and easy. So if you come back to the front again, you'll see that I have pushed this forward. Now, yes. And then of course this is metal. This is metal, so be careful where you put it. It's probably best that you just set it somewhere nice and easy on the floor. Here is everything that functions this bad boy. Wow, that's nice. Okay, so what do we have to do next? We have to remove one screw. Oh, sorry. Totally forgot about this. So I'm going to also set this over there, just nice and easy. Set it on the tray. Let's get a little automation going, or power, and take these guys out. Okay. Now, these two were in the front. Left-hand side, those two are in the rear. This guy was also in the front panel. So back here in the back, there are tabs along here. So I hope you can see that. Yay! Wow. Okay. There we go. Whew. All right. So there's other tabs sitting on top over the metal piece here, as well as the in-through tabs that lock you into place. So that's what threw me off for a minute. So now to take this whole face off, this whole door here, what we've got to do is a couple things. First, we're going to take off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws. But we have to go inside here and take this guy off. And what is this guy? Let me show you. It is this. Boom. This holds the seal in place. And you have to remember that this seal has to kind of sit in this groove when you put it back on. And then put the ring back on. So we're going to take this off and put it inside here. Okay. And then inside this device, you've got to reach in, and there's a wire clip in here. There it is. So you can see it. It's a plug right here that snaps into this connector. We need that off, so when we take this whole panel off, it comes off nice and easy. Now, okay. So now, if you come down here, way down in there, there's little wing tabs. So you have to bend this to the side and then pull it up. And now we have a door disconnected. So this was that plug we were talking about. And this was that tab that I was having to push down and pull down. Now, we got this seal. I'm going to double check this seal. So I'm going to do a couple things, maintenance-wise, because this is where the water shoots in. Take this off. And then I'm going to look down inside of here. Perfect. So I'm looking to make sure there's no clog in there, because that's where also all the detergent and stuff comes from, this detergent tray down into here and sprays in here. So that was one of the recommendations, was to check that to make sure there's no clogging going on. So it's kind of like, since we're here, let's perform a little extra maintenance to make sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be. And it is. So we'll put that bad boy back on. What we're supposed to work on is these hoses here, this hose here, which goes all the way up to here. It's basically just a kind of a drain hose. So we got to take these hoses off. We got to take this device out and unlock it. So let's start there. All these screws seem to be so easy to take off. So because I know that there's water in here, we're going to have to concern ourselves about the water that might fall out. Okay, so please do not leak. Sweet. One more little. Now this guy we do have to get off. All right. Perfect. And then last but not least, the guy that probably might leak the most. And we have to concern ourselves with down here in the bottom, because if we get too much water in there, I believe there might be a sensor down there that will shut it off if it detects a leak. So back here again. And what we have to get is that, see how we had that metal tube here, or that metal clamp here? I've got to get that metal clamp off backwards and then pull it out. It might leak. Its worst case is it'll leak down into that tray, and then I'll just drop a towel down there and absorb whatever's left. So go back to you and try to get this guy. There we go. Yep, that's exactly what I was afraid of. Okay, so what we've done is we have put, you can barely see it, there's a glass measuring cup that I'm holding the rest of the water. So we're going to have to show you this later, but underneath this whole thing, it won't come out. The reason why it won't come out is there's a clip underneath. I've got to pop the clip loose to get to all of this. And then hopefully do a switch out of my motor, and I'm done. Well, I got to put it all back together. But here we go. There it is. Okay. Now, oh wow. I'll tell you what, give me that other cup. I got it. There. So you just quit pouring water everywhere. All right. So this is the guy that we have to replace. So now we have to be very careful in that this guy is going to go like this. Okay, you can see how it's very similar in design for the most part, but we're going to have to put this back in just as we found it. Now also, if you notice, we have to keep in mind the colored wires here. You have black and you have brown. So, and they just pull out, but they're very hard to pull out. Black, brown, and then black, and then unhook it from here. Now, let's take this guy off. And I don't know if that will pull that. Okay. Now, this, oh, where's that cup? Oh, it doesn't matter. Okay, a little bit of water from this. So we have to put this back exactly as we found it, but we're looking to make sure that there's no leakage there or damage or anything else. Okay, so now, oh yeah, see how this barely spins, and see how it's wobbly, you know, and it's bare. I mean, I can spin it easily. If you look at this guy, if I spin it, it wants to, you can see it here in a second, is it wants to, there. See how it's like pushing and spinning behind me. It's just, this thing's fried. It's no longer good. So now I have to take this whole piece, well, off the back. And it looks like, did we get water in the motor? I don't know. Yeah, looks like it maybe got some water in the seals or something. And it's not working properly. So I have to push this thing out somehow. There we go. Okay, now, here we go. See? Pretty much identical. All right, out with the old, in with the new. Okay. Yeah, tab, tab. Oh, we got one more tab? No? Oh, I see. This thing is a little bit tricky. But there we go. Got it in. All right, so took us a second to get the proper orientation on here, but push these back into their terminals. Okay. They go on a whole lot easier than they came off. Finally. All right. So now we got to get this foot back on this. Yep, so it's locked in. Wow, these all go on so simple. Here we go. Everything is locked in. Yay! Okay, so now if we remember this, as I said, this seal this groove has to sit inside that groove. So firstly, let's pull this out. Then, oh shoot. That would have been important. The ring of impossibility, from what I understand. That wasn't so bad, now was it? Okay. This guy now has to go back in. Okay. Everything seems to be fine, except for the fact that I'm sweating but it's okay. It's a warm house. Last but not least, so if I plug this in and it explodes, I did something wrong. But I may have done this right, I think. So, okay, no exploding. It turns on. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn it back off. I'm going to go back into diagnosis mode, which means it'll turn on the pump and spin the motor for me. So once again, if you remember, spin, speed, and soil level, press them together. Holding, press the power button. See a bunch of dancing disco lighty thingies going over here, and then you hit the press button one time. That's what I want to hear. No more grinding. Oh, now we're going to go into fast mode. Perfect. Turn it off. Guys, that is how you replace this stupid little motor. And I'll tell you this is one super, super cheap. This is like 30 bucks, not even 30 bucks. So if your motor goes out, it's a lot of work, but hey, a knucklehead like me can take all this apart and put it back together. Listen, I watched a few things. I've never done this before. I'm not a service technician. I watched one video on how to do this, basically, and I did it. Out of memory. You can even ask my wife who's back there holding the camera. I didn't stop to go check anything, I don't think. Yeah, I had to go back and double check on my own video which plugs were right. But for the most part, and also where this thing goes in. But other than that, everything seems to be working just fine. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to run a cycle. We'll come back and make sure that we're good to go. Okay? So thanks a lot for following along. And I'll post where I got this purchased from. I'll put the link down below. And if y'all can do me a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that ding. That bell, that ding, that bell. Hit the bell so it goes ding. So it'll remind you anytime I do any other videos. Okay? Thank you. Peace.
Go.